Hello, everybody. See, we got a few people on. That's good. We'll wait about a minute before we get started with everything, see if anybody else gets on. Hopefully this all works smoothly. It's the first time that I've done anything like this, so we'll see how it works, and give me feedback if there's anything after we're done that was hard for you to follow, because I'm going to be doing this for the next 4 times again until we get finished with the packet. So like I said, let me know if whenever we get done, you can send me an email or you can send a message on here and say that something was messed up. And so hope you all are doing well. Like I said, we'll give another minute or so before we actually get started on the lesson, so we can try to get more people on here. But as I was saying, hope you guys have been having a good time in the quarantine. Hope your packets are going well, and we just got one more, the last one. And so kind of what I'm wanting to do for this packet is we're learning statistics. We didn't get to that because we had to leave school right before we got to those lessons. And so every other day, so day 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, I'm going to go through the lesson that's on your packet. So what I would suggest is if you have packet 3, I would get that out and put that on to day 1. And I'm just going to go through day 1 and the different things that are on there. We'll talk about the examples together. And then day 2, you should be able to do the practice on this lesson. And it shouldn't be too bad. So if you realize that this stuff is easy, you don't need to watch the videos, don't watch the videos. But it's just, since we're doing something new, I thought this would help. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I think this is not yet, it's going to be backwards. I had planned all this out, and then I realized the camera on my laptop is flipped. So you might not be able to use that, so you might just have to pay attention. We'll do our best. Hopefully on Thursday when we do the second lesson, it'll make a lot more sense. Oh, you can't see it. Okay. All right. So you can't see it the right way. So I guess we'll use this. So we're going to look at something called appropriate measures. That is the title for today's lesson. And just a few vocab words as we get started with this lesson. The top 3 are words that you all definitely know: mean, median, and mode. So just as a review, the mean, that's when you add all the numbers together and you divide by how many there are. The median, it's where you put everything in order from least to greatest, and then you kind of count off, and the number that's right in the middle, that's the median. The median, if you think about the median of a road, that's the middle divider, and so that's what I think about. It's the very middle. And then the mode, that's the number that occurs the most. Now, normally, we would say that the mean is the average. We say find the average, you add all the numbers up, and you divide by however many there are. However, all 3 of these are actually averages. We also call them measures of center. So our goal in this lesson is not to just find them. We're actually going to have to look at each set of data, and then we're going to have to figure out what's the best one to use. So we're not going to be finding all 3. We're just going to be finding one of these, and we're going to try to pick out the best one. Now, the thing that we use to see which one we should use is called an outlier, or it's also called an extreme value. Outliers are numbers that are really far away from everything else in that data set, in that collection of numbers. And so, for example, if you have a lot of numbers that are all really close to 20, so 19, 20, 23, 21, and then you've got 57. 57 is far away from everything else. So 57 is called the outlier, and that's going to determine the next question that we're going to ask. So the main question that we're going to be asking ourselves is, when do we use each measure of center? Remember, we're just going to be using one in our example. So we use the mean. Remember, the mean is when you add everything up and you divide by however many there are. We find the mean when there are no outliers. So when all of the numbers in a data set are really, really close together, they're spread out, but there's nothing that's way far away, we use the mean. When there are outliers, and if there's no really big gaps right in the middle, we use the median. So usually, for the most part, in 7th grade math, if there are outliers, we're going to use the median. Because, for example, if we have all those numbers really close to 20, and then we had 57, whenever we add 57, that's going to pull the mean, the average, a little bit higher than what it should be. So we're going to use the median so that none of the averages are really far off from what they should be. So the median is when there are outliers and the middle of the data is close together. And then we use the mode. The mode is used when over half of the data is the same number. So if we had 8 numbers and 4 of those numbers are the exact same, we would use the mode as our measure of center. And so this tells us what we should use: mean, median, and mode. We're going to use the mean this time, the median this time, the mode this time. And so I'm going to keep this up here as we go through our examples. And if we need to look back at those questions, we can. But the next thing that I'm going to do is look at our first example, example 1. So if you've got your packet, I would go ahead and get that out. And as we're going through these examples, if you have any questions, type those in, and I'll be able to see them on the chat, and I can answer them right now. And if you think of a question later and you forget to ask, just email me, let me know. But example 1. So example 1, we've got the number of medals won by the U.S. in previous Summer Olympics. And so they have this table right here. Now, if you notice, all of the numbers are we're focused on medals right here. So we've got 112, 101, 97, 103, and 110. They're all really close together. You wouldn't say that any of them are really far away from everything else. There's no outliers. So because the numbers are really close together, we're then going to use the mean. Okay, so we use the mean, which means we're going to add all the numbers together. So when we add 112 and 101 and 97 and 103 and 110, we get 523. And since there are 5 numbers that we've added together, we do 523 divided by 5, and we get 104.6. That is the average number of medals based off of this information that the U.S. won in the Summer Olympics the past 5 years. And so our average would be 104.6. Even though you can't get 0.6 of a medal technically, I know sometimes we want to round, we're just going to keep it as exact as we can. So 104.6 would be our average for this one. And the reason why we use the mean is because all of these numbers are close together. There's no outliers. Okay, so example 1, which measure of center best represents the data? It'd be the mean, because there's no outliers, the numbers are close together, and then that measure of center would be all that we find. So normally we have to find all 3 of them. In this case, we just have to find 1. We decide which one's the best, we find that one. Okay, so example 2. If you notice in example 2, I don't have the table with me, but you can look at your packet. There are 7 numbers. 4 out of those 7 numbers are the same. 4 out of those 7 are 82. So because over half of the data is the same number, we use the mode, and the mode would just be 82. And so remember, we said if over half of this is the same number, 4 out of 7 is over half, we're going to use the mode for this one, and the mode in that case would be 82. It's the number that occurs the most. Okay? So example 3 now. Example 3, it's got the prices of several DVDs, and it's got them all listed there. Now, if you are looking at that, what you can notice is that $10.50 is an outlier. So notice how we decide outliers. There is a technical method to use, an equation to use to determine an outlier, but you're going to learn that later on in math. For this, we just care about look at it and see if there's an outlier. If you notice, all the numbers are really close to $21 or $22, and then you've got $10.50. Well, that 10.5 is an outlier. Okay, so I've written here 10.50 is an outlier, so that means we use the median. Remember, if outliers are present, we find the median. And so remember, to find the median, the first thing that we do is we arrange the numbers in order from least to greatest. So we start with the least, we arrange from least to greatest. We then pick the number that is in the middle. Now, sometimes there's just going to be one number right in the middle. What I like to do is cross off the ends and keep crossing off at the very end till you reach the very middle. In this case, there's two numbers in the middle. So think back to 6th grade. If there were two numbers in the middle, what you would do is add those two together, and then you would divide by 2. So just to recap, if there's only one number in the middle for the median, you just circle that number, that's your median number. If there are two numbers in the middle, in this case, it's 2150 and 2195. The first thing that we've got to do is add those two numbers together. So 2150 plus 2195 would give us $43.45. And then we take $43.45 and we divide by 2. So notice when we divide by 2, we get 21.725. Now this is money that we're talking about. So whenever we talk about money, remember we've got to round it to the nearest hundredth, round it to the nearest cent. So we've got 21.725. We then need to round that up and make our answer 21.73. Okay, so I'm going to recap this one because there was a lot of stuff that we had to do. There is an outlier, 10.5. Okay, that's far away from everything else. So we use the median. We list the numbers in order from least to greatest, and then we find what number is in the middle. And remember, there's two numbers in the middle. So if there's two numbers in the middle, we add those two together. We take our answer when we add it, we divide by 2. And whenever we divided by 2, we got 21.725. The last thing that we've got to do is remember, oh, I'm dealing with money. I need to round it to the nearest cent. And so we get 21.73. So 21.73 would be our average for this question, for this problem. Okay. I don't see any questions yet, but once again, let me know if you have any. And then our last example, I don't have it written down here because if you're looking at your packet, it says this table shows the average lifespan of some animals. Well, it gives you the table, and it says which number is the outlier. Hopefully, you can easily see what the outlier is, because we've got 35, 30, 50, 200, 30, 70, and 20. Well, I would say 200 is the outlier. You've got all these numbers right around 30, 50, 70, and then you've got 200. Okay, so 200 is the outlier. We don't have to do anything else with that problem, but if we did have to choose a measure of center, if there's an outlier, which one would we choose? We would choose the median. So if we had to find the average there, we would choose the median. Okay, that is day 1. I hope this was helpful for you all. I hope it made a little more sense than if you were just sitting down looking at this by yourself. Once again, if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out to me. You can ask. So next up will be day 2. Day 2 is practice based off of this lesson. For day 3, our next new lesson that we're going to learn, we'll do the same thing. On Thursday of this week, April 30th at 11 a.m., then we'll be back here on YouTube Live. I make sure to send out the link and remind you all of it. We'll go through that lesson together. And then once we go through that lesson, you'll have day 4 problems to work on as well. I hope you all are doing well. I hope these packets are going well for you guys. You just got a few more days left and then you're done for the school year. But once again, let me know if you have any questions. Reach out to me if you need anything. Like I said, I hope this helped. And if you think of anything that can make this go smoother, if you think of anything that might be able to make it less confusing, send me an email or send me a message. Let me know, and I'd be more than happy to kind of tweak some things if I need to. Once again, it's guess I don't see you, but it's good to be here, and hopefully this helped. And reach out if you have any questions. Hope you guys have a great day. Get outside, enjoy this nice weather, but also make sure that you get your work done. See you guys on Thursday.